is going to take this the distance.
Throws it toward the end zone.
He comes back to Harrington, who has it for a touchdown!
Keenan Howries. Touchdown Ducks. An 80-yarder.
There's a hole. He's going to score. Baby, he's gone.
Oregon football with Mike Bellotti.
Hey everyone, welcome to Oregon Football with Mike Bellotti, Joe Giansanti, along with the coach. After a very difficult and cold and frustrating evening in Seattle, Washington. Coach, thanks for coming in again. And just a difficult evening again. Had them at halftime, almost a carbon copy of what we saw last year.
It was. We played well in the first half. Defensively especially did a great job. Offensively, we were very opportunistic, took advantage of a couple of big plays, but didn't get the consistency I would like on offense, but still we're ahead at halftime.
Going in, everything on paper looked like Oregon would be able to run the ball, they would throw the ball, and it turned out almost to be the opposite. They were able to really run the football.
Yeah, we did a nice job in the first half containing the big plays. Did a good job of keeping them out of down distance situation where they would run. Second half, I think when they lost Cody Pickett, I think they felt that they needed to do some things. They ran the ball, got a couple of big plays, and we were not in, people asked me if we were in pass defense mode. We were not. We're actually playing our normal defense, which is a run defense. We just didn't make the plays, and unfortunately, over some penalties that took us out of our offensive game.
What did they do differently on offense than maybe other teams have done? They run to the corner a little bit more, off to the end, rather than up the middle?
No, they ran some option. They ran some double tight. They mixed a lot of double tight with really like 5 wideouts and did a good job of just power football. And we just missed a couple of tackle opportunities that would have stopped the big plays.
And at halftime, what'd you say to the guys at halftime? Similar situation as a year ago. And what'd you tell them about the second half and what they had to do?
We talked about finishing the job. We talked about where we were in the Pac-10. We knew at that point in time there were probably going to be no more undefeated teams in the Pac-10 and put us right back in the middle of this race. We talked about continuing. I challenged. I called out the offensive line and defensive line, said this game is going to be won to the line of scrimmage.
And when you look at what happened in the second half and Washington going on the big tear, do you feel like right now when your team gets down a little bit that there's a little bit of frustration and a here we go again mentality, or do you feel like they're still fighting?
I don't. I think they're still fighting. I thought the verbiage on the sideline was very positive, supporting of both sides of the ball. We made mistakes, though. It really doesn't matter. When you give up a big play, that's disheartening. When you turn the ball over, that's disheartening. I think the defense was on the field too much, obviously, and I think that the spirit is still good. And, I look at Stanford. We beat them 35-0. They come back the next week and beat UCLA. So I think this team, I know this team can bounce back. It has already this year. But I'm frustrated by our inability to be more consistent on both sides of the ball.
And that's what I was just going to talk about, consistency. We'll talk about that during the course of the action here as we go ahead and take a look at the first half highlights and start out in the first quarter at Husky Stadium. Coach, a real cold night. Does that affect the team? It was pretty cold and it rained steadily throughout the evening.
I don't think the cold was really a factor. The rain, as it got wetter in the second half, and especially when we went to the no-huddle offense, was a problem because they don't do wet ball mechanics when you're in no-huddle. So the ball came up wet a couple times to Kellen Clemens, unfortunately.
Whitehead for 6 yards on that play, and then Clemens looking for Sammy Parker. Off to a good start and a great opening drive. You get the ball, take it, and move it right down the field.
Yeah, had momentum, and again, did not break ourselves down, made the plays we needed to.
Ducks going to go back to the run right here. Terrence Whitehead going to pick his way for 3 yards, sets up Oregon's first third down of the day, 11 yards to go.
Waits for the snap on 3rd and long. Has it, will go back to throw. A lot of time. Steps up, could run, but now will throw, and it is caught wide open. Witherspoon first down and out of bounds, down inside the 25-yard line.
First of all, this was a great job in protection. This is what we got in the first half that we did not get in the second half. You notice he's got a lot of time here. We pick up their zone blitz from the field. Kyle Witherspoon gets lost in coverage. He's wide open out there. Kellen finds him, and then he makes the most of it.
His biggest play as a Duck, and some injuries there. Obviously not having Marcus Maxwell, he wasn't able to go, but he did a nice job, didn't he?
He did. Kyle filled in very well.
Whitehead going for 4 yards here on 2nd down and 10. So 3rd and 6 on this promising drive, looking for Sammy Parker. I know you'd love to convert in this situation, get in the red zone, get a touchdown, but still no disaster play here, and you're able to get the field goal unit on and get the 3.
Yeah, just couldn't quite convert on a 3rd down, so we settled for Jared Siegel on the field goal.
So Jared Siegel does come in, and they almost get to this one. See him come from the outside, but Siegel gets it up and through. And a nice kick for Jared Siegel. 3-0, and a lot of people talk about fire and emotion, and it happens when you make great plays, a good drive, and your team was really up at that point.
Well, especially, the first drive of the season, you want to score first drive of the game. It just puts a little fire, a little spark in it.
Cody Pickett tried to pull the ball back, and he couldn't, so it's an incomplete pass. And then on 3rd and 10, looking for his tight end. He finds him, but only for 7 yards. So Matson and Martin there, 3 and out right away for them.
Did a nice job. We disguised the coverage a little bit, played some zone, mixed it with man, and again, kept Cody Pickett off balance.
Teams exchanged some quick punts, so the Ducks with it, starting from their own 11. 1st and 15 after a procedure penalty. Whitehead for 6 yards on this play, and then going back to Terrence Whitehead.
Yeah, again, we wanted to add some draws in there, and sometimes there were good positive plays, other times, but they're designed to keep the defensive line honest.
On 3rd down, gonna have to hurry. He's only got 3 in a play clock. Waits for the snap, got it in time. Rolling left, stops, steps up to throw. Pressure comes, runs away. Now being chased. Back to the 10. Wants to go deep for Williams. He's got him, and he's got it. At the 40, sideline of the 20. Got a blocker, he's gonna go it. 5, touchdown, Demetrius Williams.
This is a great job by 2 people. One, Kellen Clemens, because he avoids the rush, actually buys time. See him flushed out of the pocket right here. He moves over, runs away from 35, and then has the press mind to step back and put the ball up. Demetrius now also great awareness. You lose his man deep, makes the great catch, and is just right on the sideline. Sammy Parker, great choice not to block, didn't need to right there.
Coach, I've seen this play before, haven't I? Mississippi State, almost an identical play, almost the identical yardage.
Something very similar, Again, you see again, Kellen right there, avoids the pressure, gets outside, running. This is a pretty difficult throw. He does a great job, though, of stepping back to allow himself to set his feet, get enough on it right over the top, and Demetrius, who had run a comeback route, takes off on the outside and adjusts his route, and Kellen sees it.
And Williams gets into the end zone for the 80 lead. Certainly wasn't easy, but boy, it's going great. They're crowd out of the game.
Yeah, you know, you just got it. You understand it's a long game. You got to keep playing.
They come back with Williams for 8 yards. Did a real good job on Williams in the first half. He got loose in the second. Any difference between what happened scheme-wise at all, first half to second half?
No, we unfortunately took a couple chances in the second half with pressure, and they backfired a little bit.
They start to run the ball a little bit. Kenny James for 4. Matson there on the tackle. Then they go back to James for 11 yards onto the outside. We haven't seen a lot of teams toss sweeps on you, and they did it pretty successfully in this game.
This was more of a quick toss. They caught us a couple times on our weak side end, and we'll have to adjust to that.
Pickett now looking for Charles Frederick, who wasn't going to play, but had a miraculous recovery and did play in the football game for 20 yards. And then Pickett to Williams. This is a long drive, and hey, you made them earn it.
Yeah,
right?
they had to earn. Did not give up a big play. They got away with a push-off on the previous play that you'll see pretty big on the film. But again, not called. 11-
play drive, making them earn it, and the quarter comes to a close. Oregon leading it 10-0 at Husky Stadium. So when we return, the Ducks, again with that lead, trying to hold on to it, and the Huskies with the football will have that and more as Jason Fife gets loose a little bit as he comes into the game and gives Oregon a spark. And how about this? Miss Ethel Russo, 91 years young, loyal Duck fan. Here's a nice look at your granddaughter on a cold and wet night at Husky Stadium. More Oregon football with Mike Bellotti coming up after this. Welcome back, everyone. Here we go. Second quarter at Husky Stadium. It's Oregon football with Mike Bellotti. Thanks for tuning in today to recap this one. And lots of Duck fans making the trip to Seattle for the game. Had some nice fan support. And the Huskies on the march. A long, long drive. They had the ball for about 6 minutes on this drive. And you kept everybody in front, but they were able to do it without making mistakes.
Yeah, they didn't break themselves down. They made a nice job and drove the ball in.
Pickett rolling. This was a big play on 2nd and 7. Had it smelled out. There was just a little bit of contact in the back, and you get called for a holding. Not a good call.
Well, it's unfortunate. Again, I don't know if it was a good call or not. It's just we can't give them an opportunity to get a first down when we stop them down in a 3rd down situation.
Still a great drive all the way down the field. Lots of plays, 17 plays, 83 yards. So you just tip the cap there, and it's 10-7 at that point. Looking for a response here now. Clemens to Parker. Clemens rolling out, moving him out of the pocket a little bit.
Yeah, not doing things too much differently. Nice job by Sammy Parker to step on the DB's toes to get him out of his back that way.
And Kenny Washington getting some carries here for 1. So are you looking to try and get your running back rotation going a little bit more? Or you feel like Terrence Whitehead's going to carry the load here?
No, I think Terrence is going to carry the load. We just want to give him a breather on that last play.
Sets up a 3rd and 7. Whitehead for 3 from Clemens. And so Martinez comes in. Talk about this play here. You just really wanted to keep their receiver off the field, and you did that, and then the punt went out of bounds.
Yeah, we did what we wanted. We got them earlier to call a timeout, and then we got them with sort of in between their defense and their punt return team, but unfortunately we did not punt the ball anymore.
Ball goes out of bounds for a young freshman. A learning experience for him, and you hope that happens. You hope he learns from it and gets better. He's got a lot of punting to do for the Ducks.
Yeah, and he got better as the game went on. He struggled early. I don't know if the cold affected him. He just wasn't himself. James
for a yard. Robbie Valenzuela in on the tackle, and then James is going to lose a couple here. Woods gets in there and playing pretty well defensively, stringing it out. Rodney Woods.
Yeah, great job early penetration by Gary Madsen, and then Rodney finally makes the tackle.
So the defense does hold, gives the offense another chance to extend the lead, and Jason Fife comes in and really ignites your team again on the ground, a lot like he has all season long.
Well, yeah, there are some run options and design runs for him both. And again, they're pass run situations where he can read a key at the line, decide whether he's going to carry the ball or throw it.
Picked up 7 yards on that first play, and then Fife again scrambling away for 14 more. And so this seems to be working. Why not go at it again with Jason Fife taking off?
One blocking back for Fife. Pressure coming. I think the Huskies are coming. Here they come, and he's picked up, and he's going to run. Big hole, Fife with speed. 50 first down, 40-yard line, and down to the 37-yard line.
We caught them in a blitz, which is always a good time to run. Jason, very heads up, picks his hole very well, is off to the races. And again, he is one of the better runners we have. Really does a nice job with the football and with the speed.
29-yard pickup. It was a huge lift, and a score here, Coach, would be huge. Once again, that 40-yard line area, tough one to break. A first down here is worth 3 points, and not able to get it.
Absolutely. You have to convert field position opportunities.
Incomplete on this play to Sammy Parker, the pressure coming. There was an incompletion, and then Jason goes down on the sack as they start to get a little pressure, and then Jason again looking. Had time this time and going to the end zone, but this one's just a little bit too far.
Yeah, unfortunately, and we had a motion penalty, which would have negated the play had it been completed.
Washington takes over at the 24-yard line after a 15-yard punt, and then Sampson again going to the edge for 11 yards on this play. And Pickett for James. Pickett was a little bit off early on. You could tell there was an opportunity here with him not playing at his highest level.
Yeah, and I don't know when he sustained the concussion that kept him out of the second half.
I think it's right here. Take a look on this fourth down play. He just gets hit pretty hard right there by David Martin, and that's when it happened. They did pick up the first down, though, and they're trying to get some points here at the end of the half.
Right, and I thought our defense did a nice job of keeping them inbounds, tackling them inbounds, keep the clock running.
Pickett to Williams for 10, and then again over to his tight end, Lyon for 10 more. They come in for the field goal, and they missed it. So even though they had long drives, and they've had the ball a lot, Oregon used a timeout we were talking about to ice the kicker, which this time was literal.
It really happened, yeah.
The ice built up on his leg because it was so cold out there, and he actually did miss the kick. So even though they've controlled the ball, had a couple long drives, you still have the lead in this football game.
Yeah, and I was glad that they missed that. I was trying to keep them out and obviously want to maintain momentum going into halftime.
Maybe one stat to be a little concerned about. They had 44 plays. They'd run 44 plays to your 27. I know it only matters about points, but still there was a sign that they were controlling the football and they were doing a good job at that. How much concern did you have about that at halftime?
Well, not that much concern. They were one of the best teams in the conference coming in on third down conversions. We knew that. Again, I don't care about yards. I really don't care about first downs. I do care about points. And we had got the big play, which obviously was a lot of yards in one gulp. Didn't get a lot of plays in. I wanted more consistency, though, offensively. I thought we had the chance. I was disappointed we didn't get an opportunity to either kick a field or get the ball in when we were down there the time before.
Ducks leading it here at halftime, 10-0. When we return, we'll take a look at the Pac-10. And for the third straight year, the Rose Bowl may miss out on the best team in the conference. That and more coming up next on Oregon Football with Mike Bellotti.
Welcome back to Oregon Football with Mike Bellotti, everyone. Well, the Ducks and Huskies were not the only ones playing a game of big importance in the Pac-10 this weekend. They're all important now, including at the LA Coliseum, where number 3 USC hosted number 6 Washington State. Getting fired up in the locker room, the Trojans were, and they were fired up on the field. Toss it to Herschel Dennis. Watch this piece of running, 24 yards to pay dirt. 14-3 Trojans at that point. And then SC would go to the air. Matty Leinart, one of his 3 touchdown passes, this to Steve Smith. Trojans roll 43-16 the final over Wazoo, and they'll be the likely number 2 BCS team this week. More on that momentarily. In Palo Alto, Buddy Tevens and his Stanford Cardinal looking for conference win number 1 of the season. They were tied with unbeaten UCLA in the second. UCLA punting deep in its own territory. It comes to Luke Powell at the 10, and watch Luke take off. 90 yards this will be for the punt return touchdown. Put the Cardinal ahead 14-7 just before the half. They hang on 21-14 for Stanford's first Pac-10 win of the season. UCLA no longer unbeaten in the conference. And up in Corvallis, Beavers out to the field for their game with Arizona, and it was not much of a game. OSU scoring 28 points in the second quarter, 21 of them in a decisive 4-minute span. Derek Anderson, 4 TD passes. Steven Jackson had 3 scoring runs and a TD catch. Beavers roll to 6-3 on the year, 3-2 in the conference, 52-23 the final score at Research. All right, so the win has put the Trojans in all likelihood second in the BCS standings. Oklahoma still number 1 with that convincing win over OK State. Florida State at Notre Dame, a win, so they're number 3, but could end up locked up in a tie with USC. We'll have to see what happens. Vatech number 4, LSU number 5, and of course Miami after their loss, probably the number 6 team. All right, that brings us on to this week's internet poll question, with the BCS question going to be filled with controversy again, as a one-loss team will likely be in the championship game. Hearings in Congress this week on the future of the system. We'd like to know, what would you like to do with the BCS system? Blow it up, have one game after all the bowl games are played, have 4 bowl winners in a playoff system, or like the NCAA tournament, have a 32-team playoff format. Place your vote at kzi.com and click on the OSN link, and we'll have the results next week on Oregon Football with Mike Bellotti. All right, coming up, tough second half for the Ducks in Seattle. More to come on Oregon Football with Mike Bellotti right after this.
Welcome back, everyone, to Oregon Football with Mike Bellotti on this dreary Sunday afternoon. And we're going to go into the third quarter highlights, and Oregon still with the lead in this football game. There's still plenty of chances, really, when you fell behind to take the lead. And their quarterback, Casey Paz, comes into the game after Cody Pickett went out with a little head injury, but he played pretty well for his first extended action in a critical game.
Played very solid. Gave the receivers a chance to catch the ball and made some plays.
Complete to Reggie Williams. Really, though, the big factor in the second half was their ability to run the football, and James takes off for 56 yards. I think that it's kind of a shock for Oregon fans, Coach, because we're just not used to seeing this team doing this against your defense.
Right, and we just missed a tackle there, and obviously in any situation, if you miss a tackle, you're going to give up a big play.
Sampson for 8 yards on this play and the touchdown. He had 6 carries, 131 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Just a freshman. He had a career day. No good on the point, so it's only 13-10. They've got the lead. Their crowd was into it, but still plenty of chances. And you come back with the football and go ahead to Terrence Whitehead for a yard.
Yeah, only being down 3 points, field goal does it. I felt okay at that point. I thought our defense, that was a bad start, obviously, the half. I didn't think it meant anything.
5 incomplete, so a quick 3 and out, and they get the ball right back. And Coach Greatwood talking to his young men, trying to get him to step up and stop the run in this football game. Paz goes to Williams for 28 yards, and the momentum is moving to their side. In a game like this, how do you get momentum back?
Well, you got to make a play. I think that'll fire everybody up, and it happens, really. And I think at the end of this series, we actually keep them out of the end zone, and that was a very big positive for the whole team, because with a field goal that this series stops on, then you got a chance just to touch it and you're back in the lead. James
for 8 yards right there, and then a loss of 1. Kevin Mitchell showed up. 14 tackles on the day.
Great job right here. Great job all day long.
You see, he got up slow, but, that's a senior just playing his heart out. No matter what the condition is, no matter what the score, the field goal is up and good. 16-10. Even though they've controlled things, you're still right there. Coach, the penalties really cropped up. They had, amazingly, 0 penalties for 0 yards, and your team seemed to be picking up on a regular basis. Jason Fife had a nice game, but it's nullified by a holding penalty.
Yeah, we shot ourselves in the foot with penalties on special teams and penalties on our offense, whether it be holding or procedural penalties, which are unacceptable. So, very difficult. Right there, I won't say anything. Just shoot ourselves in the foot with another penalty.
So another nice gain brought back. The drive really never got going because of those penalties, and Washington gets the ball back in great field position because of it. The 48-yard line, and then Sampson for 37 yards right down the field. Keith Lewis comes from the other side of the field to make the stop, but you give the team the ball in that great a field position, pretty tough to keep them out.
Yeah, and again, we were losing the field position battle. We had to come up and make some plays. They do a nice job here of finding Fredericks, and he makes a nice move to get in the end zone. 22-10. Still pretty early in the third quarter. A lot of time left in the football game, and Kellen Clemens coming back in the football game now. And this seems to be the rotation you've kind of settled on. Kellen first, and then Jason kind of in the middle part, and then Kellen late. Yeah, it's really a choice of a group of plays, and we run through those plays, and then we make the move and switch, and depending on the situation. I thought Kellen came in to give us a little spark right here. Nice job on the screen.
Set up the Whitehead. He's up and away. 30, 35, 40. Down the sideline and almost keeps the balance, but goes out of bounds.
Big conversion on this down. Nice job. Nice patience by Kellen Clemens. Has the blitz coming from both sides. Sees it, feels it, holds the ball. Perfect little touch pass there to Terrence. Great job blocking downfield by Sammy Parker. You see, makes his play go. Terrence eludes two would-be tacklers. Gets a chance to cut through there. Big third down conversion.
Pick up 25 yards on the play out to the 50-yard line. So that was the furthest the Ducks had been able to get in the second half. And the inside screen to Demetrius Williams. And pretty good chance to get back in the football game here with a good-looking drive.
Yeah, we're moving the ball. I'd rather get that ball up the field, though, than do lateral with it.
10-play drive. So trailing at 22-10, and the guys put the fourth quarter up, and the fourth quarter in the last couple years has been somewhat of a problem. And I saw you working the sideline, talking to the guys, and trying to keep them up.
Well, yeah, one thing, we're only, depending how we do this, 2 scores away. We've got a promising drive going, want to motivate everybody. I think our kids were up and excited about it, the opportunity. Again, you got to make some plays, though. That you can only do that excitement, that emotion for so long, and then you got to back it up with performance. So
going to the fourth quarter, Oregon's still very much in the football game, and we'll talk more about that fourth quarter coming up next on Oregon Football with Mike Bellotti. All right, folks, let's just get to the fourth quarter. We'll see it, get rid of it, put it in the vault, put it away, and get through it. A little therapy session, if you will. Open it up. The Ducks are driving. A couple of showers, maybe mixed with snow coming down. And a couple of sacks and a couple of fumbles make it pretty tough for Oregon in this quarter. And the Huskies, on this play, bringing the pressure. They get to Kellen Clemens, and the ball's on the turf.
Difficult when it's your backside, and that's assumed to be protected. And when you get hit by the blind side, it's tough to hang on.
So a promising drive ending with that backside, and then the Huskies almost give it back on the, I'm not sure who was pitching it to there.
Yeah, an errant pitch, and again, we get big loss. We need to get the ball out somehow on that play.
Nice hit by Marley Tucker. The ball just kind of bounced right back up into Sampson's hands there. And then he loses 3 yards on this play. So, Coach, really this sets up the play of the game. It's 3rd and 29. And Reggie Williams, you see him in the slot there, and he comes free and gets the ball, and he's gone.
Yeah, we come with pressure, don't cover him very well. He makes a play down the field. Give him credit for that.
How much frustration at that point, though? Do you feel like the team just, boy, what else can go wrong at this point? 3rd and 29 play converted for a touchdown.
Well, that play obviously took us out of a lot of things because we had to go to no-huddle offense after that. And the ball was wet because of the rain. No-huddle mechanics mean that they don't do wet ball mechanics, and then led to some disaster here later on.
Witherspoon had the 20-yard gain, and then Clemens improvising to Matt Floberg for 11 yards. And here's the play you're talking about, Coach. It just slips right out.
Yeah, we'd been in no huddle. The ball came up wet to Kellen, unfortunately. And that's a shame because he had been doing some good things and showing some great composure. And that's one of those things that, again, could fall harmlessly to the turf, but it did not.
So just like that, it's now 36-10. And going back to Terrence Whitehead on the draw play for 5 yards. Everybody's still playing very hard here, and Clemens especially goes back, and a nice 26-yard pickup on the scramble.
Yeah, does a great job getting outside, shows his speed, gets up the field. And our quarterbacks have that ability, that capability. We'd like to do it, though, more design situation.
Whitehead again on the draw for 9 yards on the play, finding his way and taking a hit. And then Clemens incomplete, so the drive gets into the red zone area, not able to get it into the end zone. Looking for Sammy over here, but this one's just a little too long. And then the other side, another one just a little bit too long.
Yeah, both, were very, very close. And it's a shame and unfortunate because, again, those are the type of plays that you make them, they're right off the fingertips, they're just a little bit long. You've got to make those throws. They'll give the guys a chance to catch the ball.
Huskies take over on downs, and Coach, this I know is very bothersome and may head to the Pac-10 office. Cheap shot coming up here by Khalif Barnes. The play made by Marcus Binns there, but Khalif Barnes said all week that he was going to get back at Keith Lewis in the game, and so I don't know if you call that headhunting or what, but I'm going to show you really what happened on this play on the replay. The play was over, and he just puts his helmet into his back without seeing. I mean, if you're going to cheap shot the guy, at least let him see you.
Well, I saw that play already on film, and we'll turn it into the Pac-10 office. That's all I can say.
I think also Barnes then lashes out at Lewis first, and both teams get a personal foul. I don't know what Keith Lewis is supposed to do in that situation.
Well, yeah.
I know.
Again, it should have been called on them. There should have been not a double foul. It's unfortunate.
So the next play, Sampson going to take this one for 77 yards, and you know what? That's it. We'll just cut it off right there. The Huskies getting the big victory. The Ducks searching for answers after the bitter loss.
We came out early in the game and we were ready to play, and we had them up, and it started kind of just falling apart. Penalties, turnovers, defense giving up explosion plays, and it's just one thing after another, and we just didn't get it back together like we should have.
Credit to their offense, but as a defense, our guys would tell you that we can stop those plays. Like I said, I don't know if it was distractions, just our cylinders wasn't pumping full throttle this game. So
it's unfortunate because at halftime I thought we had the W. We was hanging in there, and second half, it's a team effort, so you can't really blame one person.
We didn't stop fighting, but once a couple turnovers come, it's like dang, what's going to happen next? And I think that took a little momentum out of us.
Washington, for the most part, in the second half had all the momentum, and it's very easy to play with momentum, with emotion when you've got the momentum. I think we lacked enough momentum to turn that thing around and enough emotion. We had some opportunities to get the momentum back in our favor, and we didn't make the plays. Take it really hard for about 2 days, and then you can't dwell on it. We're going to learn from it on Monday when we watch the tape, as painful as it's going to be, and then we're going to go to work on Cal.
No, I don't think our confidence is gone. I think it's hurt a little bit. It's damaged also, obviously, but I don't think it's gone, we can't continue to keep going back and forth like this. I think we just need to step it up, make sure we get on the right track and just do what we have to do.
I'd say live and learn. When something doesn't go our way, the bottom can't fall out. We got to figure out something to do to turn that around, because right now, one thing goes wrong and, the bottom falls out, like I said. So, I think that's just looking within ourselves and making a commitment to each other that it's not going to happen.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what the problem is, but we've got to figure it out. Everybody has to take the loss on their shoulders, whether you're a coach, player, doesn't matter. Everybody's got to take it on their shoulders and just look internally first before they can help the team.
Hey, Coach, you talk a lot about team, but, really it is. Each guy looking in the mirror and finding out what they can do to make this team better, isn't it?
It is. When you keep asking people what's the problem, then they perceive there is a problem. The problem is we just have to make plays. We have to stay together. And this is a good group of players, a good group of kids. They're supportive of each other. They're working very hard, and we'll continue to work hard. And as I said, we'll move on to Cal, and we'll learn from this. We had opportunities to make some plays, didn't make them, and a couple of fluke plays went against us, which, again, you just have to be ready for that. You cannot allow yourself to let down if that happens, and we've discussed it. We've talked about it. We'll continue to talk about it.
And a team that has played so well at times during the course of this year, Coach, and then other games that, go like this game, and I think it's hard to – they can be so good one game, and then the other game, that can happen. How do you find that consistency, or how do you put a finger on trying to get it kind of streamlined and evened out?
Well, I think it's a combination of mental and physical toughness, and it's what you demand of yourself and you demand of each other. I think we're getting positive response. We did make some plays. And again, my concern and frustration was more that our own penalties and things that we control took us out of some things. I think if they beat us, they beat us. And I can live with that if we played up to our potential, played hard, and finished the game. But we didn't do that, and that's on me.
All right, well, we're going to put that one in the vault, lock it up, and we're going to move on. Moving on, and maybe time for some much-needed levity. A little tradition around here about Halloween stories with some of the Oregon Ducks. So a spectacular, I should say, Halloween for a couple of Ducks. More to come on Oregon Football with Mike Bellotti after this.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. We have a tradition here on Oregon Football with Mike Bellotti. Right around Halloween time, all year we get a chance to see the Oregon athletes up close and personal, in school, with families, and in the community. But when we get to Halloween, it's time for some pure good fun. Started with A.J. Feely dressing up like I Dream of Jeannie, through last year's Jason 5 trick-or-treating dressed up like Tigger. This year, Oregon's biggest, baddest guys brought down to size by the spooky corn maze. Here's Darren Fabre.
Last year at Halloween, I learned a very important lesson. Never go trick-or-treating with defensive linemen. This year, I got a couple of big fellas from the O-line, Dan Weaver and Nick Stites, as we took our game to the Lone Pine Farms corn maze.
There's going to be a lot of people trying to scare the living bejesus out of me. You guys, I want you to treat me like I'm your quarterback, and don't let it happen.
Let's see what we can do. I'm scared, man. I'm so scared.
The good people at Lone Pine were nice enough to offer $50 to anyone who could scare Dan or Nick into falling down. But Nick took it upon himself to do some scaring of his own.
Get scared. Get scared. No? Okay. No.
I'm the quarterback. Then one of the actual Oregon quarterbacks came by and gave us a little advice.
It's a common fact that O-linemen, Oregon linemen are the whippiest of all of us, so have fun, guys. Just down the sheriff right there. Why am I not? Why am I jumping? What's the deal here? Why am I scared? Nope. Chainsaw's chasing me. I'm saying, see you, girlfriend. I'm out. I'd be horrible in a horror movie. First one dead, right here, Nick.
But in the end, neither of the guys took the $50 fall at Lone Pine.
No, well, I'd say the corn maze scared Nick the most.
Definitely got the better of me. Scared me pretty good.
Darren Fabre, Oregon Football with Mike Bellotti.
I think Jason Feist got a little something for Halloween. Remember last year trick-or-treating, and they go out to do this, and he just happens to be there.
He shows up. He's always around that TV camera, I think.
You know, we were talking a little bit during the story. Coach, your guys are good guys. I mean, they stand up and talk to the media after these games. They don't duck anybody. They do these things for the TV station. You know, you've got a great group of individuals on your football team.
They're mature kids, and they understand that you got to take the good with the bad, and we don't like the bad, but we got to move on from it and get better. And I think they're willing to discuss it and you know, think about it and internalize it somewhat so we can finish it.
And ready to get back on track against the Cal Bears next week. Another night game coming up. This one against the only team in the country that could beat USC, the California Bears. And Jeff Tedford's return to Autzen Stadium for the first time. A look at the Bears, and we'll hear from Tedford when we wrap it up here on Oregon Football with Mike Bellotti. Welcome back to the show, everyone. We saw the Pac-10 a little bit earlier, and we're talking about the Cal Bears. But, Coach, I just want to get your comments first. I think that the Pac-10 is the only conference in this country where the last place team can beat the first place team. Stanford beating UCLA. Vanderbilt cannot beat Georgia. Indiana cannot beat Michigan. In the Pac-10, it can happen.
There seems to be greater parity in our conference. And you're right. I think any team can beat any other team on a given weekend. You have to play inspired football, as I've said, the bounces of the ball. I think there's an equality in terms of the athleticism. There's a knowledge, and there's not the upper crust and the lower tier. It's not that way. It is truly a great conference.
And that's just all talent. I mean, USC is kind of out there beyond everybody else, but you think the talent level really is very similar?
Well, I think it's a combination of motivation, talent, coaching, all of those things rolled into one. And I think, again, you can look at Stanford, for example, and last week we shut them out. This week they beat UCLA, the undefeated team in the conference.
Right. The winless team beat the undefeated team in the Pac-10. It can happen. So back home, the Cal Bears, and they need a win to become bowl eligible. Oregon needs a couple to secure a berth as well, and 2 would secure for your team, Coach. 1 will make you eligible as well, just like the Cal Bears, and they've settled on Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. They did beat USC, and they play with a lot of flair offensively.
Did a great job. Aaron Rodgers has taken over for him at quarterback. He's a strong-arm kid from Duke Junior College, doing a very nice job. Quick release and strong arm. Echamondu is a great running back who's finally healthy and making his way. Jeff MacArthur is their leading receiver, and they do a nice job. Again, it's very recognizable offense. You'll see a lot of things that we do and have done in the past.
You see here they've used a couple of different quarterbacks during the course of the year. MacArthur, there you see the touchdown against USC. They've lost some tough ones, too. They easily could be 7-3. They won this one against USC in that overtime game down at California. They've got good special teams. Obviously, they're coached very well, Coach.
Yeah, solid defense. Not any stars, just a lot of great players that make a lot of plays, play with emotion. Bob Greger's doing a great job, another Oregon guy. They've got, I think, 7 people on their staff from Oregon.
The game, of course, marks the return of former Oregon offensive coordinator Jeff Tedford. He's got the Bears playing wide open and with a lot of confidence, coming back to Eugene with some mixed emotions.
Well, it's definitely bittersweet. I mean, I had a great time in Eugene. The people that are surrounding, the program there, in the city, in the community. I mean, I would never say a bad word about it because there were so many great days, and I carry so many great memories away from there with the people and the teams and the wins, and it was just a great experience for me and my family the whole time. So the only thing I can tell you is I know it's going to be different walking down that other tunnel and experiencing the crowd, which I know was such a tremendous boost for us when we were there, and so I'm not looking forward to walking down and having to face that crowd, because I know where their allegiance lies, and they're going to be loud and they're going to be ready to get after us, But also, I'm anxious to take our team into a great place like that and compete against a great program.
Of course, the great years with Jeff Tedford, and you mentioned all the Oregon guys, Ron Gould, Bob Gregory, of course, Justin Wilcox has the linebackers, Mike McHugh is on your staff, Kevin Parker, the flashy player that used to wave the towel around. So when you play a team like that with a lot of guys what's that like when you're competing against guys that are friends and that you respect so much like that?
Well, it's a combination of 2 things. I mean, you worry that they know a little bit more about you than you know about them, although we have changed some things now terminology-wise just because of that, because there's so many people in the conference. But I have great respect for Jeff and all the guys. I mean, there are 7 guys on that group of coaches that I know very well. Either gave their start, they played for me or coached for me or both. And, I'm proud of what they accomplished. Obviously, I'm not very excited about having them come here because we got to get after them the same way, and it'll be great competition once the ball is snapped.
Is this game an X and O game, Coach, or is this game more of a psyche game and a confidence game, trying to get your team back together?
It's both. I think every game is an X and O game, but again, we have to play with greater confidence. We can't get down if something bad happens. We got to come back from it.
And you have that home crowd to help you out at Autzen Stadium, 57,
Absolutely.
and you need them, 57,000 strong. And we'll see you all out at Autzen Stadium again. It's a night game, 7 o'clock, national TV on TBS. For the coach, I'm Joe Johnsante. Thanks for watching, everyone. We appreciate it very much, and we'll see you next week on Oregon Football with Mike Bellotti.